Looks like both runners are at the title screen and should be off shortly. So Dash is off. It looks like Roopert has started, but doesn't have a timer going. Not quite sure what's going on with Roopert's timer, but we might just have to have a timerless race here. So given they're starting off with the same strats, I was about to say let's just assume they're synced up, but Dash is having a little trouble getting under that part there. You need a certain amount of momentum to clear that tunnel. Roopert through 1-2 cleanly. Got his Big Mario with fire strats. Dash not too far behind. Roopert through no problem. And he's heading into the first fortress stage, 1-4. Yeah, due to the lack of timer, it's going to be tough to definitively say who's ahead, but I'm just going to throw out some numbers randomly based on my best guess as to what I think the time difference is. I think Roopert's about 10 seconds ahead, let's say. Nice stage for Roopert, and a really nice stage for Dash. Great 261 Bowser kill. So Roopert has an official Bismarck time lead of 10 seconds. Multiple asterisks next to that. Nice 2-1 for Roopert, clean through the spring, the dreaded spring. And great stage for Dash as well. Just a slight bonk on the up jump there. So Roopert with a head start into our first of 2 water levels. So he did a little bit of a back press there. I didn't like the patterns that he got. So these patterns are essentially random unless you know exactly what frame rule you're on. So nice strat there for Roopert. He did a duck swim, which minimizes your hitbox. So it actually looked like he got hit by the fish for a second there, but he did the duck swim just in time to avoid that. Plays it a little bit safe, and he's through. Conscious of the 6th looming on the clock and slow down just a bit. So Dash gains a little bit of time there. So they were synced based on the 1-1 entry. So they are synced here. So Roopert indeed has, I would say, roughly something like a 5-second lead. Not quite the 10 seconds I said earlier. Assuming they're synced. That's about 6 to 7 second lead for Roopert. Really nice Bowser kill for Roopert. Let's see how Dash does. Really nice kill as well. about even on that Bowser kill. Roopert. Oh, Roopert looked like he didn't get the jump he liked on the stairs there, and he had to slow down, but didn't quite have the momentum to clear over that Koopa and took some damage. This is an opportunity for Dash to come back. Yeah, as Mars is stating in chat, the stairs at the end of 3 to 1 are pretty tricky. We got 2 Koopas walking down them, and there's a few different ways to handle it, but getting the snipe on them as you're landing on the stairs can be a bit tricky. So Roopert grabs his first power-up in 3-2. See where he decides to grab his fire power-up here. So chooses to go for it here, not surprised. So Dash has taken the lead now because of Roopert having to grab that flower power-up. We've got a pretty close race here. About 2-second lead for Dash. And for anyone just joining us, Roopert, something happened with his timer, but they are synced. The SpeedGaming staff did sync the streams based on their 1-1 entry, so... So Roopert gains a little bit of time there. 259 Bowser kill versus the 257 for Dash. About a second apart at this point. Roopert going for the backwards swag snipes. Yes, Roopert is the streamer who speedruns SNES SMB 2 and has a dog that loves carrots. But then again, that could be the other Roopert. So here we have a divergence in strats. Roopert chilling up top, while Dash is going through the gauntlet below. Oh yes, some streamers choose to use an alternate account for race purposes or practice or whatnot, so he's using his alternate account. Might as well take this opportunity to say, make sure you go ahead and follow both runners. Both are excellent Mario Warpless runners, but also run several games as well. So you'll probably want to give Roopert's main account a follow, not his alt, but you can give his alt a follow as well. Nice job in 4-3 for both Dash and Roopert. 4-4, so this can be a pretty tricky castle. Gotta be ready to go. Both choose to buffer their inputs to make the beginning just a little easier. Bowser at the end can be pretty tricky. So both Dash and Roopert handled it almost identically. Just kind of had to do a backup and then scoot under Bowser. So both with a 345 and pretty much synced at this point. I mean, if we assume they're exactly synced, Dash is probably ahead by a single frame rule. You can probably tell by some of the patterns if they are exactly synced. Okay, so they were not synced. Roopert got the very unfortunate bill that's always looming at the beginning of 5-2, whereas Dash did not. So that, you know, single frame rule difference really showed there. It looked like Roopert just wanted to go ahead and challenge it. He had to power up a couple times, so if he's not watching the stream, maybe he thinks he's a bit behind and just decided to take the risk and challenge that bill. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Dash was fortunate not to get the bill. 5-3 though, really tricky stage. Some of these bill patterns can really troll you. Dash didn't like what he saw there, decided to back up. Roopert can make up some time. Dash takes damage at the end. As I said, those bill patterns can be really unforgiving in 5-3. We've seen multiple races decided by this stage in the tournament so far. Dash still maintains a small lead, but he needs to power back up. We'll see if he does it here. Yeah, he decides to power back up here. Unfortunately, did not get his full speed, so it took damage. It looked like he was trying to grab the power up in such a way that he could set up the favorable bars. So he was trying to book it a little bit there. But handles the rest of the stage pretty well considering he took damage. Ends on a 256, but also loses the time that he was, momentarily taking damage. So you have to factor that in. So Roopert gets the lead back officially and has power into 6-1. Fortunately for Dash, he can fully power up in this stage, which he decides to do. Good call. Fire is really quite important throughout the run, but especially in World 6 and 7, and 8 as well, for that matter. So Roopert pulls ahead slightly further as Dash had to grab his power-ups. Going through the... Oh, and just as I say that, Dash took an unfortunate damage there. I didn't quite see what happened. He must have maybe did not get the B press on the fire down quick enough. This is one of those stages where as you're approaching the pipes, you kind of have to preemptively shoot and while you're taking the jump in the air, and sometimes those shots don't go off and you end up landing right on a piranha plant that you otherwise would have killed before landing on. 6-3, another one of those levels where the bullet bills can really give you a hard time. Roopert handled that really well. You have to take a pause there to jump on the spring. Dash does as well. So this will be interesting for Dash to see if he attempts to power up. He's going to have the opportunity in 7-1. I wouldn't be surprised if he forgoes the power up in 6-4, but he might just grab it for safety. No, he goes for it. Decides to wait. That'll allow him to at least be more aggressive on Bowser. Unfortunate set of bars that followed. So Roopert's into 7-1. Increases his lead. Oh no! Bowser kind of trolled him. Seemed like he was going to be heading forward again, and he just kind of did the shimmy shake mid-air. It looked like he seduced Dash with his hip dance, and Dash thought he can get under, but unfortunately could not. So Roopert took damage in 7-1, but fortunate for him, he was able to grab the power-up before the end of the stage. Gets fireworks on the clock. Dash looking for redemption. This time Bowser was nice up in front. Yeah, it's a real pain when Bowser just kind of looms near the axe there. So Rupert heading into the next water level. He does not have fire, so he's almost certainly going to try to set up a duck swim to minimize his hitbox to make it easier to get through some of these bloopers and cheeps in the water here. So Dash grabs a mushroom. He has the opportunity to grab a flower there. Oh, wow, that was a pretty risky fall on the spring, but he managed to dodge the bill. I think he was just so fortunate to get out of that level. He wasn't even looking at the clock. He just probably wiped a bit of sweat off his forehead and was happy to get through there with his power-ups remaining. So having fire in 7-2 is going to be very helpful for Dash. Rupert into 7-3. This is another flying cheap level. So he'll have a chance to grab a power-up here. It's a pretty tricky one to get. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for it. The power-ups are few and far between from here on out. So Dash took damage in 7-2, so thankfully he had the power-up to survive that. Rupert gets his fire and is able to maintain power-ups into 7-4, which is really important because after 7-3, there's not another power-up till 8-2. If you want to get the fire kill on 7-4 and get through 8-1 without too much slowing down, fire is pretty critical. Rupert through the maze cleanly. Oh, Dash got unfortunate death. Fortunately, he has still multiple lives, so that one shouldn't be too costly. Nice job, Rupert, with a fire kill on Bowser. Yeah, 7-3, very similar to 2-2, but they throw in these extra Koopas walking and flying near the end of these platforms that are really annoying. Just where you would like to get a jump off, they're right there, and when you don't have fire to kill them before you get to that, it makes it quite a bit more difficult. So Rupert looking comfortable, having fire in World 8 is a huge advantage at this point. The thing to keep in mind in World 8 though is there's no checkpoints from here on out, so if you take an unfortunate death at the end of the stage, you go right back to the beginning. So Dash is definitely not out of this race at this point. So Dash is going to have to get through 8-1 without power-ups. He'll have an opportunity to grab one 8-2, which he might do because 8-3 is a pretty tough level to have as Small Mario. So Rupert looking good, crossing the pipes, looks like he's setting up a thank you Xerox, but had to slow down there so didn't get the Koopa he wanted. By brushing up against the pipes there, you can set up that final Koopa that's flying off the stairs in such a way that he'll be in a consistent spot. But if anything changes along the way, you have to slow down. Then the patterns are kind of up in the air at that point. So Rupert with fire through 8-3, huge help. Takes a little bonk there, but no trouble to get on by it. Dash with a really nice 8-1 as Small Mario. 195 on the clock. Whoa, Rupert saw that hammer spinning right in front of his face. Might have taken a few hairs off of Mario's mustache, but he slowed down just enough not to take damage and is in 8-4 on a pretty impressive run so far. So Dash does decide to get the power-up in 8-2. Rupert in wall jump room takes damage. Manages to get through just fine. Minus the damage, of course, but as long as these cheeps don't troll him. So that was probably one of the more dangerous parts that he had to get through. So if he can get through this swim and through the final room, good chance he'll be looking at a lead here, or a win here. And again, his timer's not showing, but SpeedGaming staff did sync up the runs as of the exit of 1-1. Wow, tricky hammer to deal with and Potaboo, but Roopert gets through expertly and finishes what looks like about a 1958 by looking at Dash's clock, assuming they're exactly synced. So GG to Roopert on a really well played race. Dash takes 2 unfortunate deaths in A3. That might be okay. He has 1 remaining life. So Mars is going to go retime Rupert's run. Thanks for doing that, Mars. So as long as Dash can get through this final gauntlet of bros, he should be able to finish out the rest of the race. So he's going to grab the fire. Fire is really helpful for these last 4 bros. I think that was a good call on grabbing the fire to finish out the race. So Rupert's official SRL time was a 20:02. So if you were to use normal Warpless timing methods, it would probably be about just about a sub 20, I would say. A really well played race for Roopert. Dash in 8-4, finishing up this final water section. So Dash finishes out the race with an official SRL time of 21:56, 21:55 if you're going by his timer. Well played race for both runners. Roopert manages to take the victory. And as I said earlier, both runners came into this with a 2-0 record, so they're both advancing out of their bracket stage. But Roopert will have the more favorable seeding going into the next round. So I'd be happy to have Roopert and Dash join for the interview, so I'm still learning this. Just one moment.
Hello.
Hello, Dash.
Oh, hi.
Sorry for the technical difficulties there, but GG on the race.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's one of those days. So, I have an excuse if you're ready for it. You want to hear it?
Oh, I love excuses.
Okay, so I don't know what the deal is today, but my hands have been like super clammy all day to the point where like I could not physically use an NES controller. So I drove to my girlfriend's house and covered my hands in baby powder. Now it helped the thumbs, like it helped the thumb action on the buttons, but now like it was not optimal. But on top of that, it was just a run where like it's one of those things where if you're doing well, you can keep focused. I'm doing well, keep doing well. You know what I mean? But once you make a mistake, you start to think about it a lot. And then like once you make another mistake, suddenly like I'm not thinking about the levels anymore, you know? And I'm just thinking about all these mistakes and once you're just only thinking about mistakes and not the level that you're in, then they keep piling on and oofta.
Yeah, Warpless can be like that where especially if one little thing puts you out of your rhythm or something doesn't go your way early on, it just kind of can lead to a domino effect throughout in the rest of the stages. So I can definitely see like if your mind is not fully in the right place, how that can happen. But great job kind of not letting the things get too much off the rails. Like it's pretty tough when you take damage and lose power-ups or take a death to just kind of get back into the right mindset. So
yeah,
GG on finishing out the race.
Yeah, I only had one life at the end, so I was actually a little bit worried about game overing, because that, that would have been a lot worse. So luckily I didn't game over, but yeah, I mean, once enough mistakes happen, then it's there were a few recoveries that were good, and a couple levels I still got through all right, but I did, I might have yelled the F word at my TV at one point.
Well, yelling the F word at the TV is no problem as long as us here didn't hear it on stream. But I think Rupert's just joined us on air here. Rupert,
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yep.
How's it going, Rupert? I just wanted to interrupt by saying GG on the race. I believe there was an issue with your timer showing up on stream, but I believe you finished with about a 20 flat, something in that area.
Should be pretty close to it, I guess. Since I'm on vacation this week, I'm on someone else's different setup, and global hotkeys weren't turned on, and so when I pressed the split button, it did not start the timer. So,
I see.
So I figured the SRL time should be within a few seconds of what I actually got there. It's of course I haven't played in like over a week and all that stuff. Had a few issues there, but I managed to get through it all right there. I was what'd you have go on, Dash? I didn't watch the restream, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I had that cascading effect where it's like each issue that you have, you start to think about too much, and then you're not paying attention, and you have more issues. First thing was, if you power up right away and then you slide under the thing in 1-2, I just stood up in front of it and bonked into it, and then had to run back and then run in and try again, and I failed it again, and I failed it like 3 times.
Oh man!
So that kind of started me off on like okay, I really got to make up for that now. Yeah. And, then the next few worlds went really well, It was really, I think it was like 5-3 I took a hit, and that's when things started piling on, where it was like, then, I powered up, got hit, and then in World 8, then I ended up taking a few deaths as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you guys were it was actually quite a close race throughout. There were several lead changes. And then I think in 5-2, Rupert, you challenged the opening bullet shot and took damage.
And I lost. I more often than not, I end up winning that challenge because if I'm on a pretty consistent pace, I feel like I get there on some frame rules that don't generally shoot. But since I had some other issues, I just out of.
Oh, Rupert just dropped his Vacation internet must be less than ideal. But yeah, that's funny to hear that it was close for a long time then, because that means like if I didn't totally just crumble and fall apart in the later half of the game, then things might have turned out differently here. I don't know though. He did end up with a 20 flat, which means that like I would have had to have got a sub 20, which is a great time, right? So like maybe I could have done that if I had played like really well, but I shouldn't even talk about that when I'm 2 minutes behind.
Yeah, so it was entering 5-2, you guys were like exactly synced, and I was speculating that you might have been on the same frame rule. So I was saying that. So Rupert, I think you've just rejoined us. I was just, we were just discussing how close it was. In 5-2, entering that stage, you guys were pretty much exactly in sync, to the point where you thought you might be on the same frame rule. And then seeing the Bill shot, you both kind of challenged it, and then Rupert got the how do you do shot, and you didn't, so clearly you weren't on the same frame rule, but it was that close.
Yeah, I didn't challenge it either. I do like a duck jump in front of it and bump into it, and then once you're pressed up against it, it won't shoot, so then I stand up, jump on top of it, and run off.
Rupert, I think you were about to start a comment there just before you got cut off. Was there something that you wanted to point out about the race?
I don't know when I got cut off. I'm doing it with my phone, but I guess it disconnected me. I was just saying, I lost a bunch of power-ups. I thought I was going to take a few deaths there, and I seemed to escape a few of those. I almost died to the first gimbal on 1-1. It's a little bit of a crazy race, but I managed to make it through it.
Yeah, I mean, really impressive that you, you're not playing on your normal setup, and that can always be pretty tricky. Not playing with your comfort zone, normal CRT or whatever setup you're using compared to what you normally use at home. So GG on managing to pull out a 20 under those circumstances. So both of you guys came into this with a 2-0 record, have done very well in the tournament. So it was not an elimination race, but it does have bearing onto the next round. Dash, how do you feel about your round robin performance now that you've gotten your 3 races in, 2-1 record? I think you've done quite well for yourself here.
Yeah, I did better than I expected. Like, my dream goal was to put a sub 20 in each race, which I did the first 2. So this one was unfortunate, but other than that, I mean, 2 out of 3, I got like I got the dream goal time that I wanted. So I like how the round robin turned out.
Rupert, how about yourself? Going obviously 3-0, you have to be happy with your performance. Any thoughts, kind of looking into the crystal ball into the next round, and kind of how you think things are going to look?
My performance for the group stage, I'm actually overall pretty pleased with it. The first 2 races were actually really good for me. This one was the one that wasn't, this was the sort of the one-off that wasn't nearly as good as the others, but I feel pretty good about it. I mean, I don't know who I'm going to face of course, I'm the one who's going to be doing the seeding anyway, so I don't know who I'm going to be facing in the bracket stage, but should be pretty fun when we get there, and Dash will be coming along as well since he'll advance. I'm pretty sure, I don't have the bracket in front of me, but I'm pretty sure you advance as well.
Yeah, Dash will be advancing based on the current bracket standing. So both of you, so Rupert, you finish the bracket stage with a 3-0, Dash 2-0. So Rudy was eliminated, went out 1-2, and Super Mega Dave went 0-3. But also both Rudy and Dave, I mean, you had a pretty tough group, I would say. I mean, the average time of all the runners in there was very strong coming into this. So just wanted to send it over to each one of you, just if you had any final thoughts on this race or anything regarding the tournament coming up. I know we've got a full list of races coming up over the weekend. Dash, any final thoughts?
Hope I do better next time. That's about it. Besides just, the whole thanks for watching, and it was fun.
Sounds good. Rupert, any final thoughts? I know you're on vacation there, so Hope you're.
Not a whole lot. Just excited to get the group stage round finished up here. I think we should be pretty much done with the group stage this weekend. I'm pretty much giving everybody next week off to get for those who moving on to I can't talk today to the bracket stage. Give everybody a week off to regroup, and then of course if you all in the U.S., give you time to do the holiday and all that good stuff, and it gives me some time to get everything situated and all that stuff. Also thanks to Takate for helping me keep everything situated and all that stuff while I'm on vacation, because I'm not obviously monitoring everything as much as I usually do. So thanks to him for helping me out on that end. But yeah, just looking forward to wrapping up the group stage this weekend. We'll move on to the bracket stage.
Yeah, and speaking of the brackets, I guess my last thought on that is so noting that the bracket stage is going to be 2 out of 3 each match, and I am anticipating seeing how I feel about that, because I feel like if I put in a really good race, then oh geez, I'm gonna feel like extra pressure to do it again, But then a race like this, it's like at least I can make up for it, It'll be interesting, the 2 out of 3.
Yeah, certainly. I expect a lot of runners to use that, I guess, time off to practice and hone on their skills. I know in years past tournaments, we've seen a lot of people get PBs during their practice for these races. Rupert, just wanted to mention, I don't know if you wanted to plug it. You did mention potentially a 144 firework race just for fun coming up for July 4th. Is that something that...
Yeah. So we're going to do what kind of pushing forth a little effort to do that. I need to close the poll for it. But basically on July the 4th, we're having an open 144 fireworks race. For those of you who doesn't know that, basically you play SMB 1 Warpless and you get a 6 on the timer at the end of each level. Well, I guess except for the castles, because you don't get fireworks on those levels. But basically to get the maximum amount of fireworks possible. That race is open to anyone who wants to join it. That will be on the 4th of July. I think the last time I looked at the poll, the most votes were around, I think, 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern on that day. So that's open for anybody out there that just wants to join it. It'll be on SRL, and I believe SpeedGaming has expressed their interest in restreaming that race. So we'll see if they're able to accommodate that, and I'll let everybody know how that goes.
All right, excellent. Sounds good. I'll be looking forward to that. Sounds like a lot of fun, and just wanted to say final GG to both Dash and Rupert, and thanks for putting on a great race, and to the SpeedGaming staff for helping us organize these events. There's a full list of races for this weekend. I'll just go over a couple of them. So ZZZ versus Scrimshin tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern on SpeedGaming main channel. Saturday, you got LK431 versus the Cole at 11 a.m. Jeremy MKW versus the Cole, so he's got a doubleheader at 12 p.m. Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, Takate versus Tuxino, and then we got a full day of races on Sunday as well. So make sure you follow all the SpeedGaming channels and make sure that you stay tuned so you can catch the future races. Thanks, guys. I think I'll just end it there. Have a great evening, and make sure to show up for the 10 p.m. race. See you later.
Yay. See you later.